Hi, and welcome to the sixth session of the Quantum GIS walkthrough series. In this session, I'll be showing the effectiveness of using raster transparency through two examples. The first example is applied analysis example, where we'll be looking at change over time. I have three raster layers open: a color aerial photo, a grayscale aerial photo, and the georeference topological map or topo sheet. I'm interested in comparing the two aerial photos to see what differences exist between them and the topo sheets. I can do this by using partial transparency, which will enable me to view two rasters simultaneously. I'm going to zoom up to the area of sphere where the rasters all overlap. Let's bring the topo sheet to the top of the layers list. Next, I'll set the transparency level to 75%. I do this on my Layer Properties Transparency tab. Now I can see both the topo sheet and the color aerial photo beneath it. I can zoom and pan to examine the differences or similarities. The majority seems similar, but for the area named Exig, I can see that there are roofs of buildings in the photo, but these are not existing in the topo sheet. The topo sheet is dated 2000 and the color photo is from 2008, so it's quite likely that these buildings were constructed sometime between then. I'll switch off my color photo to compare the grayscale photo to the topo sheet. Here I can see that the buildings do not exist. After looking around, I don't notice many differences between the topo map and the grayscale image. I don't have a date for this photo, but I can assume that it is close to 2000, as there's not many differences. It may have been taken before the topo map was created, as there are some small developments that appear on the topo map, but not on the aerial photo yet. We can see these developments again in 2008. Okay, let's move on to the next transparency example. I will be using a hill shade layer that can be created using a plugin. Session 2 on customizing your QGIS environment explains how to use and access plugins. Firstly, I'll fetch the plugin. The plugin is called Shaded Relief. Next, I'll enable the plugins toolbar, and I'll see my new plugin on the far right side. I'll need my DEM data to use this plugin. I click the icon to access the plugin, and I'll use the default settings and store my output file and save it as shade. This automatically created the layer and added it to my project. Now I'll use the DEM as an overlay to the shade. I'll drag the shade down, and I'll change the transparency settings for the DEM to about 75%. Also, under the Style tab, I'll select Pseudo Color. This creates quite a nice effect. I can also add on my other layers, such as my trig beacons, I'm going to use a symbology style that I created earlier and set transparency to about 30%. And also add on labels for my trig beacons. I need to displace the labels slightly so they do not overlap my symbols. If any of the trig beacon symbology or labeling did not make sense, please see the previous screencast which explains vector symbology and labeling. And now I have a very nice output that could be used for a map. I'll be showing map composition in the screencast session 12. The next session will be on vector attributes and queries.